Mr. Chairman.
All right, we'll call this work session meeting to order. Mr. Jeff, would you call the roll, please, sir?
Yes, sir. Raymond Albert.
Present.
Linda Hayes.
Here.
Debbie Brewer.
Here.
Ernest Pott. Here. Connie Reed.
Here.
Okay. I guess everybody's had time to look over the minutes of the November 14th meeting. We'll move right along. We're here to discuss the Church Street development. Discuss the preliminary plat, site plat, and final plat. Ms. Alex, you want to hear this to talk about the plat?
If you're ready for me, sir, yes, sir.
Mr. Chairman, while they're coming up to get settled, just to give the Planning Commission a bit of history, because it was eye-opening to me. So the Planning Commission considered the preliminary master plan along with the rezoning of the property at 70 in Church. You all considered that in October of 2022. Then it went to the town council in November and December of 2022. So then we were approached last month about getting this thing back on track. It was just eye-opening to me to realize that it has been a year since you all have talked about that. So I know for Amanda and I, it's been hard to get ramped back up to think about this again. So if we stumble through some things, just give us a bit of grace, please.
If I try to go back, memory-wise, wasn't some big discussion on the parking issues?
Yes, sir. Parking was a consideration at that time. What was submitted to the council was, and I'm guessing here, but I think what was submitted to the council was 211 parking spaces. And then one of the changes that the council requested was to remove some of the landscaping within the parking lot to bring the parking up to 221. It was an addition of 10 spots is what it was. But yes, there was a lot of discussion about that. There was also discussion about consistency of design and making sure that the elements of the project, the single-family homes, the townhomes, that everything pointed the same. It either pointed inward or outward, and I think what we've decided all now is that it's all pointing inward. So that was a consideration too. There were several things, but just from a timeline perspective, I wanted you to understand it's been a year. It's been longer than a year since you all looked at this before.
Yeah.
I remember the parking, and I remember the consistency. We want the houses and everything to have a consistent village look.
Well, now they approved it on that, didn't they?
Yeah.
All that's done.
Yeah,
all that's done, and that's not why we're here. All that is done. So
that's all I remember.
Just a handful, a few things.
Okay. Mr. Evans, now.
Yes, sir. If I may, thank you for allowing me to be here. I wanted to be here last month, but couldn't get here. But so, just to preface this, there is a lot of moving pieces in this development, and this is why it's been taking this long. So just to kind of, when we went into this design, this is our first one in the town. We had to figure out, is this the bud, and just how we're going to get the single families approved, how we're going to get the townhouses approved, what is required really in the site plan. And then there's an approval here in this body, and then we have to then take this and then go to the water authority, and the water authority's like, cool plan, no, that's not gonna work, I want you to, instead of running sewer this way or running water this way, I want you to now kill these townhouses and kill, this, and put now a pump station, and so, when we shift things around, after you approve a site, it's not done just because we want to shift things around. It's because certain comments. So one of the comments were, oh, we want now a setback, and your PUD, in an R3 PUD, which this is, it says there's a perimeter buffer of 25 feet, and now we came to some discussion about now a setback requirement for the actual houses, which is fine. And then maybe a radius of a road when we're going through with Miss Amanda through different radiuses of roads. So when we put it on here, we have to get our concept approved, our plat approved, and then when we're actually working through the construction design, things shift due to outside agencies that have the purview of that specific item, like Mr. Rogers at Water Authority. So what we're looking for today, or in next week, is that we get a preliminary plat approved, so then that I could finalize the Water Authority review of this site, because that is the driving factor, and then even get the preliminary plat approval and still get a pending approval per the construction set. So yes, it may be approved, but you still have to go through Ms. Amanda and Mr. Rogers to get the actual stamped WADC stamp to make sure that this thing is approved. Because there's so many things that we can't do, like I can't send this out to the state to get approval to actually put in this infrastructure until the WADC approves it, and I can't get him to approve it until we know that everything is, all the roads are staying where they're staying, and the site is staying the way that we've designed it, if that makes sense. So we're hopping through a lot of different hoops, and then we have the design. The previous months we've gone through, because this is a mixed-use kind of PUD, we've also had the requirement of getting the front elevations and the rear elevations, and then who does that? It's an architect that does that, and then a landscape architect to figure out, to work with Trent's team to figure out what the lighting plan and photometric plan is going to look like. So there's a lot of other entities that we have to have that have in their expertise that we need to work with. So every little thing that we move, it impacts so many different things. We have to kind of go back to them, and we're just keep on jumping through hoops. Now, if this body, if the city had all of those entities in one, then it'd be kind of circling through a workflow within the city, but it's not that way. And I understand that, and then, Trent, I'm not Trent's only client, so he has a Rolodex of clients, so he's like, all right, well, we'll get to it, and, I have to now, get into his workflow, and so he can actually finish these items. So today, essentially what we're asking is, when we're designing this, we have water and we have sewer, and the way that we were going to design it, essentially is set, but then we have to now get costs and make sure that the development makes sense, right? So too many changes in too many months just keeps on pushing that, and then I have to come back and be like, oh, well, this is not going to work, because now Mr. Rogers is not allowing me to tap into sewer or water how I want it to, and now he's causing that, So what I would ask this body is a preliminary plat approval next week, so then everything is set in place for the residential, and then I can send it to Mike Rogers to see finalized, and his plan has not changed. because this pump station, initial design was $70,000, and now it's close to $300,000. So it's like, oh, well, that changes everything, because there's only so many lots, so many houses, and those costs have to be absorbed into a project. So now I have to go back and say, okay, I just got this information last night. There may be some other changes that I come back with. Just the reality is, I may come back and say I have to get a revised preliminary plat or a revised match, because I have to now look at external to your body, their requirements, and see if this makes sense. I don't know if that makes sense. I just talked a lot, and if you're confused, I could clarify. I apologize.
Jeff, if like when you take it to the water authority, and if they ask for changes, does that have to come back before us to be approved then? The changes that the water authority asks for?
Can I jump in? For example, working with the water authority, it resulted in us losing 2 townhomes.
Okay.
So this drawing you're looking at is 2 less townhomes than what was approved. I'm kind of hoping that a reduction is probably not too big a deal. An increase I could see, but hopefully a reduction is not an issue. But yeah, we lost 2, and they would be in the northeast corner of this project.
Yeah, I think you told us last.
Did we at the last time? I can't remember.
When we did.
That's the biggest, and we, adding building setbacks for the single-family homes was wasn't in the original, so we added that, and there's also a little rule that's within 100 or 150 feet, I can't remember which, we're supposed to try to align up with other homes. So we have townhomes, so we had to shift the road 3 feet, trying to make those homes, the townhomes, align up with the single-family homes. And unless I lay these side by side, they're probably almost going to look identical to the previous plans.
So I guess my question is, even if it's still contained within the same, none of the outer boundaries are changing, none of that's changing. If there are and every time there has to be a change, it has to be approved by us. Is that true? Okay. That was my question.
Well, the changes and that's kind of what I want to get clarification on. So if we have to shift things, roads and or homes due to civil engineering and or grading design, and let's say this, that's just WADC. Once the Middle Tennessee Electric won't even touch this until it's fully approved, and then they're going to come and they're going to say, no, I want you to actually do that, and I want you to ship this house because I don't like how close it is to these homes, or etc. So now I'm like, okay, I got to ship these. So from my understanding, when it comes to the subdivision rate, those changes I think are in the purview of Jeff and Amanda, or is that?
Because that's going to fall under the planned unit development regulations, not subdivision regulations.
Okay.
Then there might not be no changes. You acting like you.
There's been so many changes.
Look at that, yeah, I would doubt, yes, there probably is.
There has been so many changes with every single body. Every time we go back, it's just one thing after another.
If I may,
Yes, sir.
If you all don't mind, there have been some changes. In fact, to the point where we actually went to Trent's office to sit down and try to pull what he had as most recent to compare, and there were some challenges even there. So yes, there have been a lot of moving parts to it. There are a couple of things that you said in your talk just now that I think helped clarify some of the questions that I had, but I am seeing quite a few changes, and I just need help where they're coming from, why are they like this, if it's, I think what would be very helpful, not only to me as a reviewer, but also to the bodies that are going to be involved, is that the narrative can be sent in along with these plans, going, okay, look, we met with Mike Rogers. In order to accommodate the utilities, we had to remove 2 townhomes. So it's not just this, okay, there's a change with no explanation or anything like that. So maybe if we could try to work toward that for Monday, or for the voting meeting. I'm losing my days here. I think that would be extremely helpful, if it wouldn't be too much.
No, I don't think that would be much at all. I think we can definitely do that.
So the challenge that we have, I know Alex and Trent have their challenges as well. The challenge that we have is I've got a set of plans here that you all don't even have in your packet because they came in this morning at 10:30. We have not had a chance to review those. And I've stressed to Alex and anybody else that we want this development approved. However, we want it done correctly, and we can try for next week, but like I said, we got this, and I haven't looked at it, Amanda hasn't looked at it. Okay, Amanda's looked at it.
I glanced at it.
So we'll see, but we can come back Tuesday and maybe have a better feel for everything and a better direction to suggest.
So far though, Amanda and Jim and Roy, what are your thoughts on it so far? Do you think there are a lot of things that could stop this project, or do you think these things can be worked out, what you've seen so far? What are y'all's thoughts of it?
I think at this point, it's a timing issue. I mean, we don't know, again, we don't know what we don't know. If we have time to devote to this, as Alex said about Trent, this is not the only thing we're working on. So we'll see.
There are also some foundational issues that should be very easy to resolve that are still outstanding. One of which is a combination plat that should literally not take too much time. It could be approved in-house in order to even allow for a site plan or any kind of master plan to be approved. What was emailed this morning is not a combination plat, so we're still missing that.
Check that out. That was not sent with these, that was a previous email.
This one you're talking about, I think it's the same.
This is the one I'm talking about. This is not a combination plat. It's labeled a combination plat, but it is not a combination plat.
So what's not a combination?
These two here.
Well, okay. I mean, just this was in my report.
Yeah.
Combination plats need to indicate that there are 2 parcels, okay? One is roughly around here in this area, that's the common area. It changes from its label, but it's roughly about here, and then you've got the parent parcel. These 2 parcels have to be consolidated because the site plan as a whole covers all of the property. Think back to Dollar General. Remember when we had that issue where they were subdividing and everything, and they didn't consolidate, and then they had a site plan, but they needed to consolidate first? Exact same issue. It's very simple to do combination plats. You put the parcel data here, and you put the parcel data here, and you put a purpose note that says the purpose of this plat is to consolidate these 2 parcels into one lot of record. You don't have to get signatures except for the owner's signature, the certificate of survey accuracy, and you also have to be sure that your surveyor seals plans. That's a thing with That's been a consistent, comment. And then we give it to Jeff, and Jeff signs it, and it's consolidated, and it gets recorded, and then it's consolidated. So, I know that with someone with Trent's expertise, I don't have to go into the absolute particulars, but I can. But that's the direction that needs to be given to the surveyor. So, that's the foundational issue number one. If this doesn't get done, the site plan, everything else, you can't move forward. I mean, just procedurally, legally, you
Okay.
can't approve the site plan on, you can't do that. So there's that. On the preliminary plat, I think one of the questions, or this, that was handed to me at this meeting, that I think was also part of that email, I think that this has some details that I was curious about that didn't show up on the site plan. But again, I'm not entirely sure.
So, if I could ask a question, and maybe Trent, could you explain to us, so the first time I've seen a tract 1 and a tract 2 on the preliminary plat, what is that? What is tract 1 and tract 2?
Those are the two plats, or the two tracts that are being combined.
So on a preliminary plat, you wouldn't show two tracts. Because
Yes.
you'd have a final plat that's already consolidated to two.
Is she,
So,
This is what you handed to me, this one.
this
Yeah,
one,
there you go.
not this one. It's these two. This tract division is being removed. It says,
no, I'm asking about on the preliminary plat where it says tract 2 and tract 1.
that's just extra, that's nothing. This is for the residential, the tract 2 can come off. That's.
So that's the site plan versus preliminary plat?
Preliminary, the site plan is for the commercial,
The commercial, yeah.
and preliminary plat's the residential only.
Correct. So is that the difference in tract 1 and tract 2?
Let me see. I believe, we have to do this so we're giving an easement to these guys across the commercial. So that's why we've added a tract 1. Because this will need
Okay.
that easement for the residential people.
So again, that narrative would,
I don't even see any easement on here.
Is that what this?
So yeah,
Which one are you looking
that's
at?
the kind of narrative that,
We will write up a narrative with all the actual additions that we did. Again, I have not seen examples and or clear, defined outlines to the things that we're going through reviews and we're getting comments to address those comments, but every time we go through a review, there's additional comments.
yes, and I can explain that if you would like.
Please.
Because we don't get the same document every time.
Okay.
There's something different every single time, and that makes review very difficult.
And that goes to, because we're dealing with, so, just for instance, the PUD, this is a PUD. Setback on a PUD is a 25 minimum setback. Nowhere does it say that there's going to be a setback in anything. So for a single family, now I have a setback line. But that setback line came to about, not when we started this, but in our last review, it was about, 2 weeks ago, or last week. So now you need to do, so now I have to figure out, okay, how do I now, to meet that requirement, and for me to actually put a feasible home, because and I could not find it, I reviewed it over and over again. If I'm wrong, I will correct myself, but in the subdivision reg, and there's no setback requirements for now.
I'm sorry, you don't look in the subregs. to look in zoning.
He's,
For
he's,
setbacks.
he's speaking, it's the zoning regs, what we looked in.
Yeah.
He's
The reg, I mean, that's why
generic,
you wouldn't be able to find
he's
it.
generically speaking.
No, the
subdivision
zoning
regs.
reg, I understand the zoning reg, but also when it comes to a PUD, plan unit development, the developer sets the setbacks.
In some communities.
And it is not specified in the plan unit development regulation and or design review where we have to set setbacks. So
Because
we-
they're provided.
No, that's
Because,
not
because
true.
this is an, so,
Here, so, last week is when the first time we've had any discussion about adding setbacks for our single-family homes. And there's a disagreement. The zoning ordinance specifically says in R3 PUD, it specifically says none for setback requirements for an R3 PUD. We're adding these because Jeff and Amanda and Andrew asked for some last week. And from last week till today, we are working on trying to, because what that does is it brings into other regulations. One of the regulations is that we're supposed to try to match the front building setback to adjacent homes with, I can't remember, it's either 100 or 150 feet, not a big deal either way. Well, we have townhomes right next door that are set, so we had to try to shift our design. We didn't have to, but we did shift the design with the intent that the townhomes would pretty much line up with single-family homes. We moved forward 3 feet with that road, and I can't remember on the single-family homes, they moved 5 or 8 feet. But small numbers, I can't quite remember. And so that caused changes, a ripple effect throughout the whole project. We had to move townhomes across the street from this 3-foot move. And, not a big deal, it is what it is, but we did that in the 11th hour because we were asked in the 11th hour. So a lot of the changes with the Water Authority, we've known, and I think we accommodated that in the design review. Back at that stage, it's been a while, not a whole long time, but a month or so. But some of these things that are coming up as last-minute changes, they are last-minute. We just found out about them and tried to accommodate that from last week to the beginning of this week. So that's kind of what I would say the biggest change is what did that little bit of adding a building setback and trying to still accommodate and have a buildable envelope resulted in this 3-foot and this 8-foot shifting of things to make things line up and fit. And they do. And it surprised me that it's almost imperceptible, this little shifting of the road. I know it's there, but most people probably wouldn't notice that. And so we will agree to disagree on the building setbacks. It's not a big issue because we've accommodated it for both, on that at the request that came up. But it was even the request was very nice in that they made this request was made and adjustments were made to the request to help fit what we're trying to accomplish, which is, for me, that's great. I think the end result is we've come up with something that doesn't necessarily hurt the building product, and it still provides for the item that was desired, and that was building setbacks. So, some of the fine-tune, is it or not in the regs? Well, I don't think it hardly matters at this point, but because we have it.
And so I will say that I agree with Trent. There is ambiguity in, as you all hopefully can imagine. There is some areas where you see misleading information, and this is one of those. And I do appreciate Trent and Alex working with us on that, and I think we all have a product now in that regards that we can all live with. However, I would go so far as to say, you all will see some revisions, significant revisions to the HUD process that the town has moving forward. We'll probably be ready to present that to you all possibly as early as next month. However, while that is important, an individual lot setback, as Amanda said, there are some foundational issues that we have with what has been submitted so far. And what I would suggest in terms of moving forward, I understand there is some urgency to get this done at this point. I would say that Amanda and I will work to accommodate that to the extent we can. I don't know her schedule. But whether we are ready or not to pass anything Tuesday is questionable. And all we can do is tell you all from staff perspective what we recommend. And hopefully Tuesday we can come back and tell you that we can recommend passage. But we may very well come back and tell you that we're not quite ready. And then you all have to make that decision, unfortunately. But that's all I can tell you at this point.
So what I got out of all this conversation in the last 10 minutes, the setbacks are not problems to us anymore. I mean,
We have worked through that on this
It should
project.
not stop the project, what I'm saying.
No, we have worked through that on this project.
But, yeah, and that maybe it sounds like to me, maybe this is a learning curve for us, and now we're going to address some things in the PUD.
Absolutely.
So, and that will be brought to us, but that has nothing to do with this. Can't even talk about that. And then, now, what we need is a closure or a correction on whatever foundation problems you two present. That's what I got out of this 10 minutes. Is that where we are? Okay.
Fair.
Being up or down.
Yeah.
And that's just changing two parcels into one.
Well, that's
Well, that's one issue. And
Yeah.
you have in your list, now I will say, again, and I don't want to speak for Amanda, but you've got a set of findings that Amanda made on a previous iteration of the document. Since then, we've had probably one or two additional submissions, so I don't know.
I would not look at the finding report in the packet,
Okay.
because that's not gonna correlate with what was sent in the last.
Okay, so I would say then that the quicker you can get those foundational and the narrative and what they've asked for, the quicker we can bring this thing to a closure and allow you, I know from a contractor, a landowner, you're knocking up interest. I understand all that. You're knocking up interest. You're losing money. Yeah, I mean, and personally, I mean, I have always liked this project. And I think in spite of some things you hear from the scuttlebutt out here, most people are. They're excited about it. So I would hope that we can get this part worked out as quickly as possible.
And now,
And
Alex
it all has to be by the rules, I
Yeah.
understand that, yeah,
and Alex has other pressures and issues, and so does Trent.
yes.
But I mean, all we're saying, when we outline all that, all we're saying is, we can be ready maybe next month. I mean,
Yeah.
it's just a month to us. Now, I know that's not the case for others. But, I mean, that's all we're saying. There's nothing wrong with the project. We all, I think, want it to move forward.
Yeah.
It's just, we have to have appropriate time. And I will just make this statement, it came to mind that, I mean, we're at the end of a year and about to start the first of a year. But I will say to you, one of the things that we started doing last year was we actually put together a submittal calendar. So it said, by this date, you've got to have things submitted if you want them to appear on this month's agenda.
Right.
And we've been lax about that in a lot of ways. And I will tell you that I see the value of it, and we're going to start in 2024 enforcing those submittal dates.
And as we all know, this is Christmas and the holidays. Business, sometimes, we don't want it to, it's a staff will be open here, but that's the way it is. Things happen during the holidays, I'm sure you guys know that. But, and I understand that then after you can't do a lot of your other stuff, from what I'm understanding, until you get things approved here. The water authority, the electric, is that right?
Yes, Madam Mayor, so right now, I'm asking for this approval, and, to be quite frank to everybody, so I may, after I get back the changes from the WADC changes that were given to us for a pump station initially, sizing wise, was one, and then finalized one was, you get one price, and then the next price that you get is a completely different price in reality, in real life, when Consolidated Utility gives you a price for that pump station they're gonna build. So, I may come back, even, in a month and a half, or 2 months, and say, I need to redesign this whole thing. That is a real reality, because of changes, and because of WADC split certain things, right? So we were like, oh, we're just gonna gravity and we're gonna tie it to the sewer, and that's gonna be it. And it's not it.
Right.
Even though, on paper and on the road, you're like, yeah, there's a manhole, and we're gonna just put the sewer there. And, and I understand WADC, and they wanna minimize their maintenance, and they don't wanna minimize their risk. But the infrastructure is super expensive, and Middle Tennessee just changed their rules on. They used to give us all the transformers. It used to be part of the permit fee, and now we're paying for them. So a cost, 7 months ago that was 20% of what I was going to put in, and all of a sudden that is now, it went from it was $14,000 for carriageway to $78,000. So now you have to pay for the cable and you have to pay for the transformers.
And I will say, and we're seeing that more and more, and we're seeing the interest rates go up. We're seeing so many complications now. Not our problem, but we are seeing that. From my standpoint, the quicker that we can help, as long as it's feasible and pleasing to us, the quicker that we can help get things along, the better it is. I mean, because I know another developer, every time I talk to him, he's already built one thing, now he's getting ready to start it, it's like, I don't even know if we do it now or not. There's so many changes, and I just see those still coming down the pike. So.
Talking about pump stations, is it one behind the liquor store you're gonna have to upgrade, or you
No,
have to
they're
put
putting a brand new one.
We have to
put a brand new? Okay.
Yeah. So, and I know that's not our problem, but it's still, it's good to be aware of those things if we can, before things just keep escalating up. I don't know what's happening, but anyway, that's what I've got to say about it. Marty, what do you say about it?
I think that we'll get a report back next month from Jeff, and then go from there.
No pressure, Amanda and Jim, no pressure.
So Tuesday you can go up or down.
Yeah.
I know everything is going up, and the longer you put off things, you're in trouble.
Yeah.
Well, it's sounding like that it's very conceivable and absolutely that he's gonna have to come back again.
Yeah.
Back to this, so.
Yeah, yeah. But that's how I feel about it. Anyway.
Okay. Anyone else have anything? Okay, we will do our best. How's that?
Yes, sir.
Y'all want them substations, you know, turn on the water, so.
Give it to him. And, another thing, the water utilities, you can see called Earthy.
Yeah.
We're at, from $3,000, now we're at $5,700 per resident that we put in.
Yeah, they,
So,
Yes, sir.
y'all reach out and we'll do what we can.
Yes, sir.
Okay? Okay.
Okay. Now, Mr. Jeff,
yes, sir.
we're moving on down to, discuss the amendment to ordinance of, Article 3.
No, sir, we'll move up to number, the Walker Development, rezone.
Okay.
That's a big topic. isn't it?
Well, I don't know, I think this is pretty well, I don't see any problem with it.
Yeah, it's just a lot of things, a lot of little code, a lot of things, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Because what he's asking for, he's not asking for R3, he's asking for C2.
Well, okay, let's get in our mind exactly where this property is. I don't read maps very well, so this property is, I know, I wish.
Killing me.
All we need is just to have that replaced.
I'm gonna donate one to the
We have the money, I don't
Serious.
know, it's just, I don't really know what we're supposed to do.
Oh, man, okay,
Anyway.
so here's, yeah, so this looks a lot bigger than what it is. I know that sounds kind of weird to say. Where is that one?
It's in there somewhere.
Just the little
Yeah,
map.
okay. I'm gonna get up and walk. Dadgummit, I wanna be at the podium. Okay. So, this is where to be. This is the document I need you guys to turn to.
Okay.
It's about page 7 of that section.
Got this?
Yes, yes.
Got
one.
that?
Nope, not that one.
Go back.
Got that,
Go
Ernest?
back.
Right there.
Yeah, one more.
Yeah, yeah.
Let's do the on the same
Okay, there we go. All right,
So,
so,
the only time we'll be on the same page.
so I have had the pleasure of talking with Mr. Walker, a couple of times about his intent for this project, and it seems really, it's very intriguing. I'm very curious to see how all this is going to turn out. The main idea of all of this is that he wants to take this chunk of property here
Yeah.
and rezone everything in that chunk to C2. The purpose of rezoning to C2 is that he wants to consolidate these parcels to create one cohesive commercial type development. And I say type because it may end up being a mixed use. It could end up having some live work, some commercial, things like that. In my conversations with Mr. Walker, I expressed two things. Number one, expressed many things, but the main takeaways are, number one, that I think this area is prime, obviously, for C2. Okay, you've got your frontage off 70. I told him I had reservations if these properties were not going to be consolidated. I do not recommend, if these properties are not consolidated, that all of this gets rezoned to C2. And the reason for that is because primarily of 424 Church and 420 and 20 Martin, all having access off those minor streets. I don't think that would be ideal for what could go into a C2. Maybe C1. I think C1 would be more appropriate. He said that wasn't that wasn't an issue because his main goal is to get this rezoned and consolidated. And so what I told him is that I would be completely willing to recommend a rezone of these properties to C2 contingent upon the consolidation of those parcels prior to second and final reading at council, should it make it that far.
Just one big parcel,
One big
not
parcel.
all these little lots, yes.
Yes.
Right.
And as we just recently discussed, consolidation is one of the easiest type plats you can do. You list the parcel number and the area, and you say these are the independent lots of record, and at the end, it's gonna be one lot of record at, I think I calculated it would be just under or at 5 acres. So that's a pretty decent sized commercial development area, right there off 70. So as it stands,
He's been planning this, I think it's very good. I mean, he's done it dot, now by this one, by that one. So you could see that coming, you know, and, yeah.
yeah. He did share with me some of his design ideas. I don't feel like I'm at liberty to repeat them
Yeah.
because they're still kind of his ideas and still stepping through, but it sounds to me that the quality of development that he's looking for sounds very much like what the town wants to go to. A little, maybe just a step or two higher than what we've got, we've had more commonly. So again, so my recommendation would be to approve or recommend approval of rezoning to C2 contingent upon these parcels being consolidated.
Now, in C1, in that blue, isn't that where the big White House was, and then it backs up to where Subway
No,
is?
that's where the old trailer was. Remember
Yeah,
that
the old
trailer?
trailer, yeah.
Over here, to your left, if you're looking at it, that's where the old White House was, right behind Subway.
Okay, okay. And he had already talked to us several years ago about when he asked for that, about putting an alley through there, and at that time, putting some mixed use right in there. He would have, at that time, he said maybe commercial on the bottom and then, you know, the mixed use residential on top, apartments. So that's why I just remember that so vividly, that part. And then the next thing I heard, he was buying this one and this, which is, hey, it's strategic. It's good.
Was he talking about that 440 Church Street being encompassed in that too?
No.
Just up the sub, cause that still comes out on Church, not.
That's where the White House is, Dan. Right?
Yeah, that's where the White House
Okay, okay. Yeah.
The garage is still there, isn't it?
Yeah, they left the garage where they tore the house down, they left the garage.
So, not really any problem with it that anybody sees? All of it just being combined in one big, I mean, it's his property, his land, you know?
Yeah, like, like she said, he agrees to encompass it all in one track.
And right now, just we vote on this, but it also goes, it has to go up to council for the rezoning. Yeah,
Correct.
okay.
Yep.
Okay.
Any more discussion?
Jim, is that old alleyway still in effect from,
It's closed, but it's, I mean, you can see it, but it's.
but I mean, so it's not really considered?
No.
Okay. I was gonna say that was, if it was still there, that would be another piece. Okay.
Okay. Anyone else have anything to say on the rezoning?
Well, that's a lot more space.
So the zoning would be contingent on it changing to one parcel.
Yeah.
Okay. Anything else? All right. Now, Mr. Jeff, I guess we're up to you to discuss the amendments to ordinance.
Yes, sir. So if you all recall, a couple of months ago, you discussed the ordinance that's in your packet regarding traffic impact guidelines. So you all recommended it on to the council. Tuesday night, last Tuesday night, the council took that issue up and they requested an amendment, and then Attorney Mills recommended that that amendment come back to the Planning Commission just for consideration. It's a minor change, but what they had requested, and if you go to, I didn't have time to get the formal document changed. We will have that before Tuesday, hopefully. But if you go to that section in your packet, if you go past the ordinance on the first page of the guidelines, down at the bottom, under traffic assessment study, it says the traffic assessment shall be required for all annexation or rezoning applications if subsection A states such a request involves a parcel of land, or if multiple parcels are included, the collective parcels of land that is 10 acres or more that is adjacent to a state highway. What the council requested was that the 10 acres be reduced to 5. So I hand wrote that in there. I mean, that's it. So what we would ask on Tuesday is that you reconsider this proposed ordinance and make a recommendation or not, back up to council, accepting the change that they requested.
That's okay. I mean, no,
it's
we didn't
okay.
see really any problem with them. I don't really think it made a big significant change either, but probably would have been called.
Back to Joseph then.
But if it makes everybody happy, makes me happy.
Well, weirdly, I think Justice, and I mean, we'd have to look at that, but I think it's 4.97 acres. But we would look at that.
I don't know if I measured from property viewers.
Okay, all right, so that may not
That could
be,
be some
yeah,
facts.
yeah.
We'll go right away.
But actually, since he gets his underway, I mean, he's probably gonna be, well, right, no, that's not true, this is just rezoning. So, anyway, that's all that one is, Mr. Chairman.
Sir?
That's all that involves.
Okay. That was the, amendment order of section 3.090, right?
Yes, sir.
Now, discussing the approval of the 2023 Planning Commission and Board and Zoning Appeals training hour, okay?
So I just included in your packet, and thank Connie for thinking about doing that, but Connie passed around a sign-in sheet, so you've got a list of all the attendees that was at the TAPA training in the middle of November. All of the Planning Commission was there, and I think 3 of the 5 BZA members were there, and I did send out an email asking if other members watched it when it was being live streamed off-site, or if they went back and watched it later. I haven't gotten any response from anybody yet, but this would just be a simple recognition that you all got your training hours for 2023.
Yeah.
We get to start again in 24?
Start again. Right.
Do we get a prize?
I'll bring prizes.
You got lunch or lunch. Oh, gosh.
All right, next is discuss the PC representative to join the White Bluff Planning and Steering Commission.
So really quickly, the planning commission recommended a few months ago, and the council passed, the 2043 Dixon County Comprehensive Plan. And the council then requested that White Bluff, take the countywide plan and craft a White Bluff version of that. And, they also asked that there be a council, representative on that. So that steering committee will be, Amanda, myself, and the council asked that there be a council representative and a planning commission representative. So the council representative is Carl Kincaid, and then we've asked Ms. Debbie to be the planning commission representative. I'm looking at you like, are you about to go like I didn't know that. It'll just be basically recognizing Ms. Debbie as the planning commission representative on the White Bluff Steering Committee.
Now, what does
Anything?
that entail?
Just, we'll tell you when to show up at the meeting.
Anything else we need to talk, discuss? Anybody have anything to bring up? Like a Christmas party Sunday night?
Just tell everybody, I know Roy has responded. Amanda, did you respond to Christmas party, Sunday night? I mean, when we say party, we're not boogieing down or anything. Well, we had Jeff with mine. No, it's up here at Salt and Pepper at 6 o'clock.
Oh, okay, this Sunday?
Yeah.
Oh, okay, cool.
Yeah. And you and your husband, or whoever you want.
Boyfriend.
Your boyfriend, whatever.
Roy?
I'll give you some out there, you know.
Anyway, though,
Someone's different.
so you think you'll be there? We're trying to get a head count, so I've got to turn the head count into Chuck. Okay.
And Misty acknowledged that, yes, okay, she wrote Raymond down.
Okay, so now we got to tell her about it. And Debbie, you're gonna let her know?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah.
I may bring Angela, because Ricky's will be working at the liquor store.
You might bring who?
Angela, on Christmas.
Oh, yeah.
Anything else anybody have to bring up? All right, we'll call this, work session.
Every one of them's a learning experience for me.